Hey, this is Ponce here with another public test room Nami patch slash season 3 patch preview thing. I've already done an item or the new items sort of preview video, but I didn't really go over what items were up, just like plain updated of all of the old items. So I wrote it all down here on the back of an envelope. That's how sort of ghetto my show is, I guess. But yeah, I'm just going to go over these. Most of this information is just available online in like forums and stuff, but I can't really find it like that easily. So I figured I'd just go over everything for you guys here. You can see it live in game, you know, just in the shop. Yeah, so let's get started. I'll go into the shop, and why don't we start with health items. The first thing to note is that Giant's Belt is now more expensive, or rather is cheaper, but it's slightly crappier, so basically it's readjusted a bit. And the other HP item is the Aegis of the Legion, which no longer has attack damage on it. It's no longer built out of, I think it was a long sword before, now it's Emblem of Valor. So there's that difference, aside from obviously building into Runic Bulwark, which is the new item I discussed in my other video. So let's move on to armor now. Another change here is Wardens Mail, which now builds out of 2 cloth armor. So obviously all the differences that entails for the base item there. And its unique passive is no longer a proc. It basically goes off, the snare goes off every time you are hit. So it's not as effective, and it doesn't slow people's movement speed, but every time you get hit now the attack speed will go down. So they made it basically more consistent. And so the same holds true for Randuin's Omen now. Actually, I just realized Randuin's Omen... Oh yeah, Heart of Gold is no longer an item, therefore Randuin's Omen no longer gives HP. That's neat. And I think Warden's Mail used to have HP on it? I can't remember. Whatever. And also Randuin's Omen, it still snares movement speed, but now its base snare thing, like it's active, lasts 2 seconds instead of 1, so it's going to last a little bit longer. Moving on from there, this is... people are being noisy. Let's move the screen away. Alright, there we go. Whoops. That's not what I want. Alright, here we go. Magic Resist. Negatron Cloak is slightly more expensive. Actually, so is Chain Vest while we're at it. Not by a lot, but they're a little bit more expensive. For example, Chain Vest is 20 gold more. Negatron is, I'm not sure how much, but it's about 20-ish gold. Maybe a bit more expensive. Alright, what else is there? Let's go to damage. Attack damage. There's Avarice Blade. Why don't we just look that up instead of having... There we go, Avarice Blade. This is... I'll just read this out because it's quite different now. Gain additional gold. It still gives GP 5, but gain an additional 2 gold every kill. I'm assuming that applies to minions? I'm not sure. Seems really good if it applied to minions. You know what? I'm going to buy that and I'm going to test it later at the end of the video. But it gives less critical strike to compensate. Oh yeah, Black Cleaver. Let's go over that one. That's a major change here. Black Cleaver, there we go. Now builds out of the Brutalizer. This is one of the more highly touted, well-known things. It builds out of Brutalizer now, and it does percent armor reduction instead of flat. So the entire item basically now costs 3,000 gold, 250 health, 500 attack damage, 10% cooldown reduction, 10% armor pen, and the passive, just read it out here for you guys, dealing physical damage to an enemy champion reduces their armor by 7.5% for 4 seconds. This effect stacks up to 4 times, so that should total 30%, I believe. Yeah, 30%. And yeah, so it's a very bruiser-ish item now. Yomu's Ghostblade, I believe, is also quite different. It these stats are plus 30. I think the stats are the same, though I'm not. It might give a little bit less crit because of the Avarice change, though I'm not sure. But the main change is at the unique active. So you gain 20 movement speed and 40 attack speed, which is the same, for 4 seconds or 6 seconds if you're melee, 4 seconds if you're ranged. So basically, instead of when you attack, it's just a flat thing now, and it works with ranged things. So, or rather, it always worked with the range, but basically, it's just better for melee now. You don't need to hit things to get the passive to continue on longer than it did. Oh yeah, Mana Mune. This is new now. Actually, let's go over Tear of the Goddess first, because this is an updated item. 700 gold, 200 mana, 250 mana, 7 mana regen per 5. The passive is a little bit different. Mana charge, each time you cast a spell or spend mana, your maximum mana increases by 4, 3-second cooldown, bonus cap at 750. So it's a bit lower than it was before, but it basically goes off every time I use any kind of mana source. So presumably Singed Poison would continuously tick away at this thing. That might be kind of neat if that's actually the case, and it's a bit cheaper. So that upgrades into Mana Mune, which... hold on one sec, let's move my character so I don't get disconnected from the game. Yeah, Mana Charge. The new thing about this item is it'll transform into Muramana, or Muramana, or however you want to pronounce that, at 700 bonus mana. So when the tier caps out, it'll turn into this thing here. So this is technically a new item, but it's almost like an upgrade, an update, so I'll look at this one as well. The difference is basically... well, actually, I guess technically tier is the same in that when it fully charges up, it'll stack or turn into an item with 1,000 mana on it. But at any rate, the toggle. It has a toggle effect now. Your single target spells and attacks consume 4% of your current mana to deal twice the amount as magic damage. So basically, it eats your mana to deal more damage. Well, that's kind of neat. So we are still on attack here, so let's go to Tiamat. I covered that in my other video, but we'll go over it again since this is the update video. 2,300 gold. It is now 50 attack damage, 15 health regen per 5. Passive. Your attacks deal up to 60% of your attack damage to units around your target, decaying down to 20% near the edges. Unique active, Crescent, deals up to 100% of your attack damage to units around you, decaying down to 60 near the edges. 10-second cooldown, so it's a spammable cooldown. Or a spammable active, rather. That's quite neat. Well, not spammable, but it's spammable compared to most actives. 10 seconds is quite short. Alright, so that's it for damage items. Let's do Critical Strike next. Sword of the Divine, that's an old item that's sort of been upgraded, so it's a completely new item at this point. But basically, it gives 40% attack speed now, and passive kills or assists have this item's cooldown. Unique active, gain 100% attack speed and 100% critical strike chance for 4 seconds or 3 critical strikes. While this item is on cooldown, it does not give attack speed. 25-second cooldown. So that's kind of neat. Seems like it'd be really good on builds, especially that have absolutely no crit but very high damage and just want to burst people down. Alright. Let's move on to health regeneration. Shirelia's gives just less regeneration now in general. I'm not entirely sure how much, I just know it gives less. It's a very good item, so I can see why they may have nerfed that. Pretty much everyone always gets it for the active anyway. And that miracle item, Alicia's Miracle, the old crabby tenacity item no one used to ever get, now gives 10 health regen and 15 mana regen. A unique passive, Aid. Your summoner heal, revive, and clairvoyance cooldowns are reduced by 20%. Unique passive, Elisa's Blessing. If you gain 3 levels with this item, you gain all the effects of this item permanently, and this item is consumed. So that's an entirely new thing in this game, where basically the item completely disappears from your inventory, saving an inventory slot, and you just get like bonuses on your character. Quite interesting. Alright, next let's move to Let's do attack speed. How about that? I believe Recurve Bow is more expensive than it used to be. Oh no, it's cheaper than it used to be, and it gives less attack speed. I think it used to give 35 or 40, and it was like 1,000 something gold. Now it's 950 with 30% attack speed. Apologies if I'm wrong there, but that looks wrong to me. So, oh, Rage Blade. That's the other one. This thing has a new passive now. Falling below 50% health grants you 20% attack speed, 10% lifesteal, and 10% spell vamp until you exit combat. 30-second cooldown, so that's quite neat. Get low, you turn into a killing machine with that item. And Phantom Dancer, that's the other one. I think they lowered the attack speed slightly on this one. Yeah, attack speed and movement speed. But it's slightly cheaper, I think, but I'm not sure. And your champion ignores unit collision. Let's look at lifesteal now. Here's a major change. Vamp Scepter builds out of Longsword, and so it has basically attack damage on it, which is quite neat. And so obviously everything that builds out of Vamp Scepter is a bit different. Let's go on to ability power items now. The first item I want to take a look at here is Lich Bane. Lich Bane, basically the change is it no longer has ability, or rather magic resist on it. So I think it was a null magic mantle that used to be in the build. That's no longer in there. And the passive reads, after casting a spell, your next basic attack deals bonus magic damage equals to 50 plus 70% of your ability power, 2-second cooldown. So basically it has a base ratio, or base damage on it, plus a ratio. So it's probably not going to be quite as good for the super heavy AP casters, but better for like sort of middle of the road, some AP spell casters. That's my take on it anyway. Let's look at DFG Nex. This is basically a completely different item at this point. It builds out of Amplifying Tome and needs a large rod now, so that is different. And obviously the stats are quite different. It has very good base stats on it, 100 ability power, 15% cooldown reduction. And here's the major change here. Unique Active deals 15% of target champion's maximum health in magic damage, then amplifies all magic damage they take by 20% for the next 4 seconds, 60-second cooldown. So basically it's less of a burst the crap out of the person immediately thing, but it does a bit of burst, gives you pretty good stats in the process, and then everything else you do is going to help you burst them down after that. So it's a bit more of a fair item, like you can kind of react to it, I guess, instead of just getting one shot by certain champions. So that's neat. I think that's a good change, personally. Oh yeah, Hextech Gunblade. It's if you ever hit anyone with an auto attack or cast a single target spell on them, the cooldown for the active is reduced by 3 seconds. And basically the active now has a 40% AP ratio on, 40% AP ratio on it. So basically the more AP you get, the better its active is going to be. So neat stuff going on there. That is all for that. Oh, I've missed one lifesteal item. Zekes Herald no longer gives attack speed, which is kind of unfortunate, but I can see why Zekes was nerfed. Well, nerfed in a sense, I suppose. Although building into it as support was kind of interesting, or annoying, because you had to get attack speed before. Now you don't, but oh well. And what have we not done here? We've done spell vent mana. Covered all the mana changes. Alright, let's go over actually boots. Boots now give 25 less movement speed than they used to, tier 1 boots. But everyone starts off with 25 more movement speed, so that's not really a huge change. I guess it's there to combat the fact that everyone is starting boots 3. So maybe we'll see some level 1 item build variants from here on out. Oh, and also every Dorrans item has changed, so I'll just look that up easily. So Dorrans Blade, the difference is it doesn't have, it gives less health, I believe, and no longer gives spell or life steal, but it just has a flat, your basic attacks restore 5 health each time they hit an enemy. I'm not sure, so don't ask me. how much, but I don't think it's going to be very much. It's just like a flat rate. I don't know if it changes with levels either. That's something I'll have to test, I suppose. Maybe I should have done that, but oh well. And Dorrans Ring restores 5 mana when you kill an enemy unit. So it gives less base stats now. I think it gives less health and less mana regen. But yeah, you gain mana back when you kill things. I believe that means minions. If it was just champions, that'd be terrible. But one more Dorrans Shield is also changed. It gives less armor, definitely. I think it gives a bit less health too. Or does it give less health regen? But at any rate, the base stats are lowered a bit. And unique passive blocks 6 damage from enemy champion basic attacks. So that's a bit different there. The other change is to consumables. Let's move a bit so I don't get destroyed here. Or I mean disconnected. Elixirs are all different now. Oracle's elixir now has a 5-minute cap on it. Elixir Fortitude is slightly better at early levels and it's also capped at 3 minutes. It can't just last forever now. Or no, rather, I think it lasted, how long was it, 5 minutes before? It lasted longer than 3 minutes, I believe. Same deal with Elixir Brilliance, slightly better at lower levels and lasts for 3 minutes now. So that is all the items that have been changed. I don't think I've missed any, but there might be, 1 or 2 small things here or there. I said I was going to test something for you guys, but I can't remember what it is now. Let me just look over the items here. Oh well, I can't remember. Looks like my team is about to end or kill the enemy bots because I'm testing in a bot game. Can't make solo games right now. So yeah, thanks for watching. You can all complain in the comments about how I missed whatever I was supposed to talk about. Yeah, hopefully this is informative though, other than what I missed. Yeah, I'll continue. I'm probably going to make some more jungler videos. Maybe I'll get around to doing an AP Elise video. I don't think it's going to be very good, but we'll see. So hopefully you find those interesting as well. And I'm going to end this now before I start rambling too much. Thanks again for watching. See you guys around.